Aotearoa, and welcome to Friday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz, and today we lead with news of plenty of gritty data, but none of it really amounting to anything significant. Actual US initial jobless claims rose 32,000 last week to 331,000, but that was a lesser rise than seasonal factors would suggest, so they are taking it as a win. There are now 2.31 million people on these benefits, up from 2.27 million this time last year, and that's a post-pandemic high. Financial markets prefer the seasonally adjusted data, even if that doesn't actually reflect the impact on real people. The New York Fed's Empire State Survey rose in January on a modest rise in new orders, putting behind it the November dip. It was a very similar story for the Philly Fed Factory Survey, which also rose in January for the first time in 4 months. The January update to the Fed Beige Book saw overall economic activity increasing at a slight to modest pace in 8 of the 12 Federal Reserve districts, with 3 districts reporting no change and 1 district reporting a modest decline. This marks an improvement over the last 3 report cycles, where a majority of districts reported little change. Employment was little changed, but cost pressures due to tariffs were a consistent theme almost everywhere. In the US rural economy, the rejection of US farm goods internationally is causing exceptionally tough times. Banks are refusing to lend because borrower prospects are so poor. It's an existential crisis for many. Far from the great again promise, it is shaping up to be a rural disaster. And Indian exports rose in December, but the gain was marginal. But trade with the US was little affected, with exports to the US down just 1% since Trump's swingeing tariffs on India. For the full year, India had a trade deficit of $305 billion, a notable rise from 2024. India is no China trade behemoth yet. And Chinese banks extended 910 billion yuan in new loans in December, sharply higher than the unusually low 390 billion in November. A year ago, the December level was 990 billion yuan, but at least this year it was above market expectations of 800 billion. New bank lending in China has been at unusually low levels for more than 6 months now. To encourage more, the central bank has lowered interest rates on targeted rural and SME lending. It also unveiled a 1 trillion yuan re-lending facility for private enterprises. The inability of some Australian state governments to repair their balance sheets after the pandemic-free spending is worrying at least one credit rating agency. Standard & Poor's is warning New South Wales and Queensland in particular that they are now at a greater risk of a downgrade from their AA+ rating. Heavy infrastructure spending and rising entitlement claims are hurting, as well as the political reluctance to raise taxes. And staying in Australia, their consumer inflation expectations came in at 4.6% in January, little change from the 4.7% in December. Households still see elevated price pressures, and it's been at this general level for more than 8 months. The official November CPI was 3.4%, and the December update comes on January the 28th. Global container freight rates slipped 4% last week, ending a string of 5 consecutive rises. Most of that was driven by retreats in the China to US trade. This index is now 39% lower than year-ago levels. Bulk cargo rates fell sharply this week, down 13% to be 44% higher than year-ago levels. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now just on 4.16%, up 2 basis points from this time yesterday. And the price of gold will start today at $4,603 an ounce and down $10 from yesterday. Silver is still at $91.50 an ounce. And American oil prices are sharply lower from yesterday at just under $59 a barrel, down $2.50, while the international Brent price is now at $63.50 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar is down a bit less than 10 basis points from yesterday, now just over 57.4 US cents. Against the Aussie, we're down 40 basis points at 95.7 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're up 20 basis points at just on 49.5 euro cents. That all means our trade weight index starts today at just over 61.5 and down 10 basis points from yesterday. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $96,711 and down 0.7% from yesterday. Volatility of the past 24 hours has been modest at just on plus or minus 1.2%. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.